Hi, and welcome to a very special edition of FBU Huddle. Now, normally during our FBU Huddle sessions, we've got a variety of guests, from the National Recruiting Director of the All-American Bowl, Eric Richards, to our partners from Wilson, to some of our freshman All-American Bowl invitees. We've had a wide mix of student athletes, sponsors, people that know the football space and are involved with it on a day-to-day basis, because that's what we wanted to provide you with FBU Huddle, is an inside look at the ins and outs of the game of football, both on the field and off the field. And that brings us to what we're going to talk about tonight, some of the key elements of building your brand off the field. And look, we've had so many guests and so many episodes, behind the scenes, somebody's got to make this work. And we're lucky tonight to bring the man behind the scenes, Joe Buffard, to the front of the page right here, right on camera. Joe Buffard is with us tonight. He is the man behind Brand University. Joe, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing great, buddy. It's finally good to come out of the back end of the production booth here and come up and chat with you face to face. We certainly do it enough off camera, but I'm excited how all these football FBU huddles have taken off, and the viewership and the information we've been able to share over the past 4 or 5 months we've been doing these. So I appreciate us finding time to talk about something new we're doing here at FBU.
Yeah, I mean, and out of the shadows, and now you're right here in front. And, just for the people at home that are watching in tonight and checking out this great additional episode of FBU Huddle, Joe Buffard is somebody that has been with Football University from the very beginning. He has over a decade's worth of experience working with FBU, being involved with, not only building up Football University from the ground, but just has a wealth of marketing experience and understands the ins and outs of branding, okay, and how to best do this. Now, Joe is somebody that we believe and we know is an expert in this field. So when we were building this thing out, Joe, or you were building this thing out, tell people a little bit about the origin of Brand University and how it got started.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt, it's kind of a perfect time, this whole COVID thing we're in, and I know football in various parts of the country is almost at a standstill and taking a timeout, and we had to take a timeout in our FBU camp schedule this past spring, and it really gave us, rather than just sitting back and saying what was us and what can we do, the core team of us, Eric, Steve, Anthony Williams, yourself, Mike Lutowski, all of us kind of really got together and said, what can we do to really improve FBU and improve the various different ways we help these student athletes succeed. And while we're having those discussions and think about things we can do in addition to our camps, I was tracking the NCAA as they were coming out with this NIL, name, image, and likeness. This is something that's been stirring up for a couple of years now, and finally a court in the state of California finally said, listen, NCAA, it's about time that you start paying some of these athletes for using their name, image, and likeness. So as that was starting to come together, and I was reading articles over this past spring of 2020, it dawned on me that here's a great opportunity that I think is going to be coming that our student athletes need to be prepared for. We do a fantastic job at FBU in, improving their technique on the field and putting them in the right position from a skill standpoint to achieve that next level, whether it be going to, Division I, Division II, but getting to the next level. Well, I saw this as another avenue where our kids can go and succeed. And here's a way we can help them. And for those who have attended FBU camp over the years, we had a little, seminar that we put together years ago called Brand University. And it really was, in between those practice times and evaluation classroom times, it was an opportunity to teach not only the student athletes, but the parents about social media and how, building your own personal brand and some things you can do on social media to be an advocate for yourself, and things to avoid doing on social media that could hurt your, scholarship and playing potential. We gave some different examples, but it was very top level, nothing.
It was kind of the appetizer, right? That was the appetizer to what has now become the main course, right?
Exactly. So I said, wow, we've got this little thing here where there's an opportunity that the NCAA is probably going to present, and it's something that will affect all levels, whether you're just Division 1 to Division 3 and NAIA and everything else. And I said, presented to the team. I said, listen, guys, I think here's our solution of what more we can do to help student athletes succeed. So we kind of they literally handed the ball off to me, and I took it and we started running with it. And
you've run far with it, Joe. I mean, and it's just starting to kick off here. I mean, walk. And that's a great origin of how this begins. And hopefully you viewers at home that are tuned in understand that everything that we do at FBU, it's a thorough process. We are constantly taking things from the ground and building them up. We don't just release something or do something, much like our camps, without a thorough thought process in mind. And this is something that has been extremely thought through. It's something that we followed for a long time, specifically, the man and behind the camera, but now in front of the camera, has really put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building this out, because we do believe that this is extremely important for all student athletes to understand, is understanding how to build your brand. So, Joe, now that they understand kind of the origin and how we got from A to B, walk people through a little bit. Exactly is Brand University. If you're starting to receive communication about it, whether it's through email or you're seeing it on social media, you might be thinking, well, what is this? I don't know what this is. This is just another thing. But it's not. It's more than that. It's important. So why don't you tell the viewers at home, what is it all about?
Sure, Matt. Thanks, man. So let's dive into our why. Why do we really need to focus on this? And let's talk a little bit more detail about the NCAA's name, image, and likeness ruling that's coming out in the 2021. So basically what this is, it's the right of publicity. And there's kind of three elements that make that up. It's name, image, and likeness. So whether you're at Division 1, Division 2, or Division 3, regardless of sport, the athletes will now be able to take part in revenue-generating opportunities for them, such as autograph sessions, public speaking appearances, running camps, selling of merchandise with their name on the back, interactive video games, but also more importantly, social media endorsements. So they want to be kind of an influencer, like another student may be able to have on campus. They can now take advantage of that. So it's really understanding what these rules are, and it's going to be an evolving process, I think, the first year with the NCAA, but that's fine, because our goal is not to take advantage of this. Our goal is to have our student athletes be prepared for this. And that's what we really want to do, is we want to focus on helping the student athletes build their brand. And how are we going to do that? Simply put, Brand University is a 3-step game plan. Number one, we're going to define and create your brand. So that student athlete may already have an existing brand on social media. They may be on certain platforms. They may have a following, a very large following, a small following. But what we're going to do is really define them and give them that backbone, that foundation of having the good brand. What is your core value system in your brand? What does your brand mean? And again, we're not talking about logos. We're talking about you as a person. So we're really going to walk them through a series of exercises or chapters of our playbook that will allow them to think about themselves, their core values, their belief system, because that will set up for future content and ways to utilize their brand revolving around their core fundamentals. So the next step, just like we do at the camps, is we're going to give you all the nuts and nuggets and crannies of all the great technique ways you can improve your skills on the field at the FBU camps. Now we're going to do that on social media. So we're going to look at each of the different platforms. We're going to look at everything from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, and look at those social media platforms and give our student athletes the proper techniques on how to really build your brand, not only just on the follower basis, but the right followers that will engage your brand and really have you present yourself well. But not only on the social media aspect, we're going to talk about the techniques of other skill sets like public speaking, how to give a motivational talk, how to conduct a proper interview, how to deal with the media. So our student athletes, we're going to prepare them for their college interviews. We're going to prepare them to sit down with college coaches. We're going to prepare them to sit down with job interviews. So again, it's not just all about the boosting your followers. It's going to be a lot of intrinsic skill sets that we're going to help develop our student athletes. And the third and final is, really connecting your brand to the personal goals. And that's really going to fluctuate based on the individual goals of our subscribers. And it could be, getting recruiting exposure, and we'll connect you. We'll help you connect your brand to your recruiting goals. It could be you want to be an influencer. We're going to connect you with brands, or we're going to help you build your brand with them. Maybe you want to just make a revenue. We're going to teach you affiliate marketing, things like that, to ways to leverage your brand to meet your personal goals at that given time when you're a subscriber at Brand University. So it's kind of exciting. Now, how are we going to do that? That's the real cool part, is we're going to put in a series of online curriculums. And I'm going to walk you through one in just a second. So every month, you're going to get a new playbook that's going to drop into your inbox. Again, this is all on a digital platform, so it will be each month you're going to get a new playbook. Why each month? Well, there's a variety of different exercises and activities that are required in that playbook for you to execute. And we want to give you the time to do it. We know you've got schoolwork. We know that the student athletes have other things coming up, their games, their practice, like that. Just want to give them some extra features that we're going to do. So as you can see, they're going to come in here. They're going to get, the playbook. The first one's called Defining Your Brand, as mentioned earlier, and they're going to have a variety of different chapters. And they can do a chapter a day, a chapter a week. It's really up to their own timetable. But what's going to happen is these chapters can be a variety of different elements. They're going to be either videos, they're going to be PowerPoints that are narrated, or they're going to be activities or articles to read and so forth. So let's take a look at just an example of one of these here, where it's going to pop up. And I click on it, and we're going to have this embedded in our FBU University app, so they can do it right on the phone, as well as interactive on the web. So the athlete's going to be in control of their curriculum. And this one is a series of PowerPoint slides that will be narrated, discussing the various different aspects of their content, and we'll discuss it. There will be a worksheet. We'll talk about that in a second. And then once they're done with that, then they're going to earn 100 points. So we're going to have a point system that allows the student athletes to, one, keep track of things, because everyone loves to be rewarded on a points basis. But then we're really going to talk about the judging. You guys have a leaderboard. So as the Brand University evolves and we get more users on the platform, more subscribers, we're going to have you guys competing based on the various different activities. And some of these activities are simple here. Here's an example of our workbook. So you are going to be downloading maybe certain chapters. We'll have a workbook that you can download and that's interactive. So this is one that coincides with the presentation, the chapter on defining your strengths. And I'm not talking about your strengths and weaknesses on the field. I'm talking about your strength in your character. So we're going to have you think about 5 of your strengths in your character. And then the next activity is going to have you go in and verify those strengths in your character, if that's what people really think that you are and feel and so forth. So again, it's really coming down and building that foundation, but through an interactive activity such as workbooks, reading articles, watching videos, things like that, everything that we feel is pertinent to help you build your own personal brand. So as you can see, it's going to be very fun, interactive component. Every month you're going to get a new playbook, and once you've completed that playbook, then you'll get the next one coming in the next month. And I think it's going to be really interactive and a lot of fun for our student athletes and really grow themselves internally as they develop as young student athletes.
Yeah, I think, Joe, that's a wealth of information that was just shared. So, within that, I think that if you were, heavily, invested in becoming a better person, better player, really just an overall have a better understanding of yourself, then Brand University is really a great opportunity for you. Hopefully, that message has been conveyed here, that really we are honing in on how to best improve the student athlete's experience and opportunities on and off the field. So viewers at home, parents, players, I implore you to review what Joe just mentioned. Go through the NIL, understand it, have an understanding of it, and really focus in on checking out Brand University, okay? Now more than ever, okay, for you, mainly you high school student athletes, recruiting is not just the film that you have. It's not about what you just put on tape, okay? It is just as much about who you are and what you say. And whether you'd like to admit it or care to admit it or not, what you say on social media matters, right? And that is written, in Sharpie, okay? They can find it. And I assure you that there are Division I, Division II, Division III college programs that have staff members dedicated
100%.
to combing through your social media. I mean, Joe, talk about the impact that your social media presence and your brand has from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, I'm sure that there are tons of high school student athletes that are looking at this and saying, man, I need to improve my brand. I need to understand what's right, what's wrong. How can Brand University help me from a recruiting standpoint?
Well, it's simple. I mean, when you're out there recruiting against everybody else in the country, you need to be searchable. People need to be able to find you. So it starts with the little fundamentals of just making sure that your profile name and your handle name is searchable. I may be a college coach and looking for, Matt Lauer, not Touchdown Matty, and they're not going to find that. So that's number one. But more importantly is the things that, the little things like, obviously what you personally directly tweet, but then also what you retweet. Even last night, there's a gentleman from the NFL Network that is suspended now because he retweeted something else that was not appropriate, and now he's suspended. Here's a grown adult that should have known better, let alone a high school student athlete. I mean, there's hundreds of stories, and it's frustrating because I see it all the time on my feed, and guys that I'm watching or college coaches will blatantly say, sorry, I had to unfollow a kid because he reposted poor lyrics. He retweeted something that was inappropriate, things like that. And that's what we want to do. We want to give these kids not only don't want to put fear in them, say, oh, don't do this, don't do this. It's no, how to do it properly. Just like we would take you on the field. Here's how the best way to work this technique, develop that skill, focus on your position. We're going to do the same thing. Here's the best way to maximize Twitter for recruiting exposure. Because, again, going back to your initial question on recruiting is, the ability to DM, the ability to contact coaches and communicate with them it's kind of a wild, wild west where there is some guidelines coming in now, but it's still not as strict as direct phone, email, and face-to-face. And then now, especially in COVID, social media is the only platform you can almost really get to coaches because they are unfortunately not able to travel and see your schools. So being able to maximize that on the recruiting trail is huge. And again, the more coaches that know about you, that you interact with, the better chances you are of getting that exposure. And it's flip side. The coaches are constantly looking at some. I mean, heck, if you get retweeted by a Division I head coach, that is huge for or even if you get liked or anything, that is huge for your cachet as a student athlete because it now just says, wow, if that guy thinks you're important, then we all should be too. So having
a waterfall effect, right? There's that waterfall effect. And Joe, I thought you said something really, good there in terms of the connection to the game of football, right? Because anybody who's watching right now they love football. They love FBU. They're interested in what they're doing. They're trying to become a better player. And that's what we do at FBU, right? Is, we take the student athlete who has a passion as young as a sixth grader who attends one of our camps, and we show them the proper tools and techniques to be successful on the field so that by the time they're in high school, they have the opportunity to perform on Friday nights. And that's exactly what Brand University is doing off the field. We want to give you the tools, you student athletes, and the knowledge, right, from a base level of how to properly build your brand. So by the time it comes recruiting time, or as Joe mentioned, when you get to the college level and are able to capitalize on some of these opportunities, you're ahead of the curve, right? And you're ready to go and ready to, like I said, capitalize on the opportunities. So just like what we do at our camps, that's how we're taking with Brand University. So extremely excited about this. Joe, is there anything else, maybe, some parting words or anything else you'd like to include and mention to our viewers at home?
Well, I just say it's never too late to start working on your brand, and never too early to start working on your brand. So if you feel that you're a senior now, class of 2021, and you may even already have a strong, maybe I got a couple hundred or a couple thousand followers on Twitter. Yes, but are they great? Is it something that are they following you, or are they engaging in you? And then if you're somewhere where you really haven't started really building your brand or not really giving it much thought, I mean, yeah, you're on the platforms and you're looking and you're retweeting, but really haven't given it that deep thought about, wow, this is almost my personal business. I need to build this out. And, what do I do? Or if you're a parent out there of a young, let's say, middle school athlete, and they are trying to say, well, maybe you're at the age now where I can bring on some social media. You can now, able to get your own handle and things like that. Where do I go? Where do I start? How do I guide them in the right way? This is your safety net that will kind of help you build that out for you. So I would say, take advantage of the tools we're providing, just like you do at camp. And it's a valuable resource that's going to help.
So, Joe, one more final thing before we go here is I'm a parent. I want to sign my kid up. Where am I going? How am I signing up for Brand University?
It's right there on our website, footballuniversity.org/Brand University. It couldn't get any more simple. We've got it hidden in our different social media. We'll kind of slowly roll it out with some emails to the database and some reasons why you need to get it. But right there, footballuniversity.org/Brand University is the initial sign up. And we will, take advantage of the early enrollment special, the early bird special we're doing. And I'm hoping to have that first module, the first playbook out to you in probably the next 2 weeks.
Well, Joe, truly appreciate the time. All you parents and student athletes out there, if you have interest in Brand University, certainly implore you to go visit the website right there at the bottom as it's scrolling down on the ticker. Educate yourself on the NIL process from the NCAA and educate yourself on Brand University. This is a great opportunity, a great tool for you student athletes to access. So, Joe, certainly appreciate the time. Thank you for, coming from behind the camera to the on-screen part and telling our parents and viewers at home about Brand University.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Joe.